But black Americans have seen their jobless rate jump even faster. At 7.5%, they currently face the highest unemployment rate of any racial group, higher than the white population at 3.7%, higher than Asians at 3.6%. Both groups have jobless rates, by the way, which are below the overall population unemployment rate of 4.3%. But if you dig deeper, the sharpest spike even there is happening among black women. Take a look at this graph. In February, when President Trump was settling down into the White House again, there were more than 10.5 million black women working in the labor force. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 306,000 have lost their jobs since then, stripping around $37 billion from the U.S. economy, according to the gender economist Katika Roy. Many economists point to Trump's massive cuts to the federal workforce as the driving factor. This is interesting. Black women alone make up over 12% of federal employees. That's nearly double their share of the labor force overall. And that's not by accident. For decades, black women have pursued public sector jobs as a pathway to the middle class. Government jobs often come with civil service protections against discrimination and pay inequity, which is critical because black women still face the largest wage gap in America even today. But those protections are evaporating. Many of the agencies that Donald Trump targeted in his budget cuts are agencies where black women make up a larger share of the staff. For example, the Department of Education. 28% of employees were black women. The department staff was cut by nearly 46%. By contrast, agencies with largely white staff, like the Department of Energy and Justice, saw cuts of just 13% and 1%, respectively, according to government data. But even black women who work in the private sector are being targeted. They make up a large share of the country's diversity, equity, and inclusion officers. And as more companies bow to political pressure to roll back DEI initiatives, these women are being pushed out of the workforce as well. Here's the thing. Even if you're not a black woman, all of this should alarm you. Economic policy expert Jessica Fulton explains that a sharp jump in black women's joblessness may foreshadow an impending slowdown for other groups, too. She says black women, quote, show up as a canary in the coal mine, giving a picture of what may happen to everyone else later, end quote. Katika Roy goes further, calling these cuts a strategic failure with long-term consequences that robs the country of leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurial capacity. Because when over 300,000 people from one particular demographic drop out of the workforce in a matter of months, that's not one community's problem. It's a structural problem for the U.S. economy. Joining me now, Derek Hamilton. He's the chief economist at the AFL-CIO, the nation's largest labor federation. Hamilton is also a professor of economics and urban policy at the New School. I'm also here with the Democratic Congresswoman from Wisconsin, Gwen Moore. Gwen Moore is she serves on the House Ways and Means Committee. She has a unique experience in this. Her father was a union factory worker. Her mother was a public school teacher. They're both great friends of the show. Welcome to both of you. Congresswoman, thank you. Let me start with you because you and I have had this discussion before. And you can go back to sort of the end of slavery all the way through the Great Migration. There were protections in the public service that did not yet exist in the private sector, which attracted a lot of black women and black people into these jobs. So when these kinds of cuts happen, they're going to hit black people and black women disproportionately.
Listen, I am certainly in the amen corner. I mean, your setup was perfect, Dulcie, and I'm really glad that you lifted up the part that black people, and especially black women, sought employment in the federal government because, quite frankly, the federal government was first to make efforts to integrate and diversify its workforce. Not only did people get good pay or decent fair pay, but they got benefits like pension benefits. And so that's why black women are disproportionately represented in the workforce. I'm also going to keep the...
Right before I go to work, I face my own day. By the time I get home, I face my own day. Right before I go to sleep, I face my own day. Right before I go to sleep, I face my
Black men are struggling to find work. Some say that black male unemployment has reached an epidemic level.
I got fired, because I was the last one that got hired. Now I can't even get unemployment because I worked there for like about 45 days, and then I just got laid off immediately.
Even as the economy recovers and the national unemployment rate is at 10%, black male unemployment is a staggering 18%, and this has major consequences.
When you have just tens of thousands of people who are out of work, it tends to destabilize.
David Jones heads a community service society. His research investigates what the consequences of black male employment are for everyone else.
There are problems of increased crime that we're already seeing the signs of. There's problems of substance abuse. As people despair, they tend to turn to those kinds of things.
So why are so many African American men unemployed? Some say they are now competing with immigrants.
And it's tough. The Mexicans really get all the jobs in the black people community. It's sad.
Academics put the immigration issue aside and blame the lack of focus on education in black communities.
We also need to shorten the gap in achievement between blacks and whites, which really isn't, again, about achievement. It's about investment. If we invested in urban schools, if we invested in training programs, then people would have the requisite skills to be able to make it.
Doing that may take a while, but nonprofits like the Harlem-based Strive are trying to get hard-to-employ people ready for work. But it's not so easy.
A lot of people actually don't have jobs because not lack of experience, but attitudinal training. They don't have good attitudes or an approach about work.
For those who have a good attitude, there are other problems that make it tough.
As a convicted felon, we all know it's very hard to find gainful employment. If you don't have a trade or skill, it's hard enough to find employment.
Though non-for-profits are making a difference.